the goods in people. So a carrier also has to be able to have the spirit of discernment to know if you're good or evil.
Welcome back to the Griot. What you just heard was part of a sermon given by embattled Bishop Lamor Whitehead. The controversial bishop has come under fire for his behavior behind and in front of the pulpit. Whitehead is a Brooklyn native, and he's known as the Bling Bishop because of his flashy clothes and that jewelry that you see on TV. You may recall the prosperity preacher made headlines last summer when he was robbed at gunpoint by two people during a live-streamed sermon. In December 2022, Whitehead was indicted on 2 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of extortion, and 1 count of making material false statements. Earlier this month, he was hit with more fraud charges when feds accused him of falsifying bank records to finance his New Jersey mansion. But I believe that all people deserve to defend themselves. All people have a story, and we can never assume the worst about people in our community, especially when it comes to the criminal justice system, so-called. So let's talk to the man himself. Bishop Lamor Whitehead joins us now in the Griot. My brother, so good to see you.
How you doing, brother, man? Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Let's start with the thing that got you on a lot of people's radars. We saw you in the middle of a service when some people came in and robbed the church at gunpoint. I got to tell you, I seen a lot of sermons. I seen a lot of wild stuff happen in the church. I ain't never seen nothing like that. What happened?
Well, man, well, once again, thank you for having me, man. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. And, you know, this has been a year. This have been, well, we're in 2023 now, but 2022 was a crazy year. I was actually preaching, and while I was preaching, we just got through praise and worship, and I get up to preach, and as I start to get into my sermon, about 10 to 12 minutes into my sermon, I just see 3 guys with hoods come through the church door, and nobody else saw them. I was the only one that seen them first. So this is why I reacted the way I reacted, to just pretty much calm my church down. And, you know, because if I would have jumped, they would have all jumped. So that's why I said, all right, okay. And I said, everybody just get down. I got down. So that's pretty much what happened. And,
now,
you know, 3...
Now, a lot of people saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people saw those gunmen, and they said something ain't right here. It was hard for a lot of people to believe that, first of all, that the church just got robbed in the daytime and brought in the middle of a service, but that, 1, it wasn't something that you orchestrated, or 2, that you weren't randomly selected. How do you make sense of why your church, such a small church with so few people, would be robbed in broad daylight on camera? I mean, that seems like a strange decision for the criminals to make.
Yeah. Well, if you look back, Mark, in May of 2022, I believe it was around May 24th, I was involved with a surrender case. There was a young man named, I believe his name was Abdullah. He was allegedly, he allegedly committed murder. It was a Q-train murder in New York City. And I got a phone call from his family, who they know me, because I do a lot of work in the community. I help a lot of people, and this is what the media just overlooks. Man, I give back toys, food, and this is with my own funds. I help the community a lot, but also I help a lot of Black and brown people, Caucasian, Jewish, you name it. I have no discrimination, and I help a lot of different people. If they're in trouble, I help them get out of trouble. So what happened here is I got a phone call from a family member of Abdullah, and they said, Bishop, my nephew is wanted for murder. And I said to them, I said, what's going on? They said, you don't see it on TV? I said, no. So I told them I'll call back. I Googled it, and I see that this young man was allegedly committed a murder. They said that he murdered this man on a Q train. So I immediately told them, I said, okay, I don't want to see this young Black man go to get killed. So I want to make a safe surrender. So what I then did, I called my mentor, which is the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, and I said, listen, this young man that everybody's looking for is their family called me and they want me to set up a surrender. So I said, I don't want to see
So
this
you set
young
up the
man die.
surrender. You
And I said,
ultimately. I just want to move along. You set up the surrender, and you were able to offer this person to the police. How did that affect the robbery?
yeah, so it affected the robbery big time because when we set up the surrender, fast forward, the media started to call me the bling bling bishop. And I was
Mm.
already dressed for the day, right? I had a Fendi blazer on, Fendi shoes, and a Fendi shirt. And
Woo!
I wear jewelry. Yeah, I wear jewelry.
I,
So, and I
you, bro,
pulled up
you.
and I pulled,
No, I was just
uh,
about to say you fly, man. If nothing else, man, I see why they call you that. Between the jewelry, I'm looking at your clothes right now. You sitting in the back of a Rolls Royce. I mean, you definitely embody bling bishop.
well, but it's not about the bling bishop. It's about the favor of God, man. And my lifestyle is not to show off. My lifestyle is to show what God has done in my life. So, when I pulled up for the surrender, I did pull up in my Rolls Royce Cullinan, and like people, I don't know what they expected me to do. I don't know if they were expecting me to go get a rental car and to take off what I already had on and put on my clergy collar. No, I was already out and about, and I came to do the surrender for this young man, and everybody's crucifying me, and the media called me the bling bling bishop. And it's just like, okay, I'm a young black man, a young black pastor. I come from the streets. I come from poverty. My father was beaten, strangled to death by 16 police officers because of the color of his skin. So this meant something to me in a different way. I didn't want the police to kill this young man. I understand what it is to be fatherless. So, we commenced the surrender, and then all
You become
of
a target.
the media has changed, and they what I believe, and to answer your question, disconnected to the robbery because I've always wore jewelry, I've always drove nice cars, and I've always wore nice clothing. But as soon as the media portrayed me to be the bling bling bishop, uh a month and a half after that, my church was robbed. I've been pastoring 10 years this year, and none of this never happened in my life. So when the media started to portray me and plaster me all over the place, not to mention just my church, but they also plastered my home, they plastered my cars, they did all of this. So they made me a target. And you have to understand too, Mark, is this. My church was robbed, but the only people that was robbed in the church was myself and my wife. So I was targeted,
Mm.
right? I was
So
targeted.
you were talking.
And
So
and
I want to pick up on that. Let me pause you for a second, brother, just because we're going to take a commercial in a second. But I want to pick up on this idea of being targeted because you have a series of federal charges against you. You have allegations from parishioners. You have people who have accused you of all sorts of things. And the question at some point becomes, are you being the target? Or is there something to this? And I want to make sure that you have every opportunity to explain yourself and explain your story so that nobody else can tell the story for you. Bishop Whitehead, stay right here. Everybody, our conversation with the Bling Bishop himself, Lamor Whitehead, will be right here. Welcome back to the Griot. We are continuing our conversation with embattled Bishop Lamor Whitehead. As you recall, the prosperity preacher was making headlines last summer when he got robbed at gunpoint during a live stream church sermon. And now he's facing federal fraud charges. But he maintains his innocence. And of course, he's back with us here at the Griot. Bishop, when your church got robbed, one of the things you said was that you had a $399,000 Cuban link chain and a $75,000 Rolex. Now, my math ain't that good, but that's like $500,000 right there. I've seen the suits you wear. That's easily, tens of thousands of dollars on your back every single week. I see the car you in right now. That Rolex is not a Hyundai. So when I think about the fact that you have access to millions potentially of dollars in clothing, cars, and then when you add your home, you have the life of a multi-millionaire. Where do you get your money from?
Well, I am an entrepreneur, man. I've been doing real estate over 20 years. And I do a lot of other legal things. I want to clear that up. And, I take that from the Bible. The Bible says, God says to inherit the land. Also,
Like what? Like what though? Give me some specifics. Give me some specifics, bro. Because people will be like what? You do real estate, and when you say real estate, you mean flipping properties? You mean you have rentals?
Yeah,
How do you get money on real estate?
Real estate is multifaceted. You know, you can flip properties, which I do, rentals, which I do. We into purchasing land, developing on land. So there's a lot of different uh, things that you can do in real estate. You know, it's not one thing that you can do in real estate. You know, so you just have to really understand. And I know that all of the real estate investors that are out there, they know that real estate is multifaceted. So we can do real estate. However, it can be very multifaceted.
You could get billions on real estate. We seen Donald Trump do that. So, but when people check the public record, they'll be able to see that you buy and own property, commercial or residential. They'll be able to see that you flip property. They'll be able to see that you have an event. This is transparent and fully accessible to the public. Is that fair to say?
Of course, it's transparent, but however, you have to understand that when you buy investment properties, you don't buy it under your name. You buy it in corporation. So, unless you know who owns.
What corporation is yours under?
I can't get into all that, Mark, man, because I'm already being targeted, man. You want me to get here and put all my business out there, man?
I gotta ask.
They targeted me enough, man, and I don't want to keep putting my information out.
All right. Look, I just asked the questions, King. I respect your right now to answer. So, but you got to understand though, for some people, if they see a person with a whole lot of money, how many people are in your church?
Well, membership worldwide, we have probably about, I would say, 500 to 1,000 people, somewhere in the middle of that.
Okay. And how many show up every Sunday?
Now, how many people show up every Sunday? I would say maybe about 40 to 50 people, because a lot of people got scared because of the robbery, and we're trying to get people to come back, but we're heavy online. If you look at the online services throughout all of the viewers, we have probably about 20 to 40,000 people a Sunday that watch us.
Oh, that's crazy. How much you get in tithes every week? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't know, brother. You get into all of the schematics of the church. What I'm here and
now, my brother, you telling me as much money as you get, and I know brothers that get it clean and dirty. I know anybody I know got Rolls Royce know how much money they get every week. You ain't got to tell me, but I know you know how much money you get every week in that church from tithes and offerings and building funds and stuff like that.
I actually don't. Because
okay.
We have to also know that after the robbery, financially, the church has been affected about 95% out of 100. So we lost a lot of parishioners. We lost a lot of trust, with the media painting me to be a villain instead of a victim. And I think that what has happened and what has translated as this young black man has to be a con artist in order to be successful. And this is the stereotype that they commit on our people. And 95% of the people that bash me is our own people. And that's the thing that hurt. So, when we sit here and we talk about these charges that are against me, we have to understand, if you read the New Yorker.
Well, let's go there. I'm glad you brought that up, brother. Let's talk about the charges. I want to give you a chance to respond to these, because you haven't had a fair chance to respond to these, in my opinion. So, again, you have been charged with fabricating bank records in an attempt to finance a $1 million New Jersey mansion, according to federal prosecutors in March. You were also charged in December of 2022 with fraud, extortion, and making false statements.
Mark, let me say this. Go
ahead.
For the first thing that you said I was charged with, that's incorrect. I was never charged for that. That's incorrect.
Okay.
All the charges.
Explain it to me though, because there was an indictment though. There was an indictment. What happened with that? I don't want people to think I just made it up. What happened?
You said that I was charged for whatever you said in the beginning. But that's not accurate. That's not accurate what you said. I don't want to repeat what you said.
Clarify it for me, my brother. What were you indicted for on March of 2023?
Well, the indictment is public records, brother, and I really don't want to get into that. As per my attorneys, I really can't tap into the indictment, nor can I tap into the case. But what I can tap into is that I was set up. That's what I can tap into. And, I've been doing this a long time. I've been pastoring for 10 years.
By who?
Excuse me? I didn't hear you.
By who? Who set you up?
Well, if you read the New Yorker,
Who set you up?
his name is clear as day, Brandon Belmonte. And he is clear as day. You know, if you read the New Yorker, and this is why I'm here, and this is why what I'm trying to clear up. I'm a young black man that have been targeted by the con artist. His name is Brandon Belmonte, and if you look at the New Yorker, they wrote a article.
He's a snitch, right?
Well, from what they're stating now is he is an informant and he is a whistleblower. However, what he has done is he singled me out, and you guys are going to see this come out in court, that he singled me out and I was his project. And he went to the federal agents, the feds, and told them nothing but lies about myself and the mayor. And I need y'all to understand that this is not really about Bishop Whitehead, but this is all political, and this is to take down our second black mayor of New York City. He knew that Mayor Adams was my mentor, and if you read the New Yorker, he said that the mayor of New York is trying to extort him, and that's what started everything. He went to the feds and told them a lie about the mayor of New York, and the feds picked it up and they believed his lies, and now I'm hoping they're seeing that he is a liar, because a lot of his victims that he's really bamboozled and really duped out of millions of dollars of money, right? I'm hoping that now he gets charged, because what he did was he put his name on a bishop who is a notable pastor, very influential, and I don't think he thought it was going to go this way. So I'm asking the FBI to drop these charges, because all you have to do is see what created all of this and who set me up. And if you Google the name Brandon Belmonte, and I'm sure you've Googled him, because I think that you're a great
Oh, I did. I read all his stuff. I looked him up. I read the New Yorker. I read your attorney's response to the indictment.
What did you find out about him?
And there seems to be some. Well, there's some interesting things. He certainly has a mission to implicate Mayor Adams in some wrongdoing, particularly this idea that he's on the take. But he also has implicated you, or at least tried to make you the connector to Eric Adams. And that's something I want to talk to you about when we come back from this break. Everybody stay right here. I got Bishop Whitehead on the griot with Marc Lamont Hill. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to the griot. I've been talking to Bishop Lamor Whitehead. He's the pastor and leader of Tomorrow International Churches, and he's back with us. So, Bishop, to pick up where we left off, the allegation from prosecutors in the Public Corruption Unit was that you'd been claiming to have influence at City Hall while trying to shake down this guy Belmonte. What's interesting is it's not clear to me, to be honest, where they got their proof of that from. So, what's the state's basis for saying that you were doing that, that you were peddling influence? We know that's your friend. We know Eric Adams is your mentor. There's no doubt that y'all are close. But there doesn't seem to be any evidence that the federal investigation is anchored in anything.
Well, the evidence is in the lie, okay? And like I said, Brandon Belmonte is a con man, and what he tried to do is, I believe that he's in trouble somewhere else, and he tried to set me up, because he knew that I am a famous pastor, and he knew that the mayor of New York City is my mentor. And for him to jump out the window and say that the mayor is trying to extort him shows you right there. And this is why you're not going to see no evidence of what he's saying, because it's all a lie. And when all of these things do hit the fan, you're going to be able to see that Bishop Whitehead was set up. I'm innocent, and it just hurts me. It hurts me how this affected my income, how this affected my church, how this affected my family. I'm married with children, how this affected my life. And I've been doing what I have to do. I have not been in the media. I have not been doing anything wrong. I've been helping the community. I helped so many rappers, so many musicians, so many actors, and nobody's not talking about that. Everybody wants to talk about negativity, and everybody want to make Bishop Whitehead look like the villain. However, we need to Google Brandon Belmonte. Why is the media protecting this white man? He's a Caucasian man, and all of the media that know about him is protecting him. Why?
So let's do something, because I want to assume you deserve the benefit of the doubt. You deserve the presumption of innocence. Let's assume that everything you're saying is true, that Mr. Belmonte is a liar, that he's exploiting his whiteness, that he's making use of a government that's targeting a young black bishop. Let's assume all of that is true. There's also somebody in your congregation who accused you of defrauding her of $90,000 from her retirement savings of at least 14 months beginning in April of 2020. The allegation being that you told her that it was an investment and at some point through text pivoted and said it was just a campaign contribution. Obviously, you have and I don't think we should ever hold people to who they were. And as Christians, I'm sure you believe that people always have the capacity to change. But you were convicted of identity theft in 2008 and served 5 years in correctional facility for that. So there is a history here, and there's some current allegations that have nothing to do with Mr. Belmonte. How do you respond to those?
How do I respond to it? So let's go back to 2006, where the Suffolk County who indicted me is one of, if not the most racist counties in the United States of America. Let's talk about how they hid all the evidence that would have exonerated me. Let's talk about how there was fake search warrants that the media don't know about, that they lied and searched my home with bogus search warrants. Let's talk about how New York, Suffolk County came out to New Jersey where I live, put everything in plastic bags from New Jersey, threw it in the back of their truck, and drove back to New York. And nobody knew where they got this stuff, but they stated that it came out of my house. And a racist judge in Long Island allowed them to use all that evidence against me. Let's talk about that. Now let's talk about the parishioner who's not.
Okay, no, that's what I want to talk about. That's why we out here. That's why we are. I want you to talk about all this. So you were railroaded in that. You were railroaded in that case. You're saying that it was a racist system, falsified evidence. So let's just say, so Mr. Belmonte's case is a snitch and a fraud. In the case we just referred to in 2006, you're saying that Suffolk County railroaded you and that your prison sentence was unjust. There's also an allegation here.
Mark, let me say this to you.
About what about the $90,000 from the parishioner? What do you say to that woman?
I'm getting to that as well. So let's talk about that, Mark, because I don't want nobody thinking that I'm playing victim. It's all paperwork, right? The Suffolk County District Attorney knew what they did, all right? Because I was the first identity theft case to ever go to trial in that county, and they wanted to make an example of me, okay? And that's why they hid all the evidence from hid the documentation, the search warrants and different things of that nature from my attorneys, because they knew if we would have controverted the search warrant, everything would have got thrown out, because they knew that they took the stuff illegally and we didn't know where it came from. That's number one. Number two, the search warrant that they did have, one of the search warrants that they did have, they did not even have the judge's signature on it. They forged his stamp. So these are the things that the people don't know and the people don't dig in. Now let's talk about the parishioner that I allegedly took $90,000 from. What if I told you, and I'm going to tell you the truth, she was never a parishioner, right? Once again, the media calls her.
Did she give you $90,000?
Excuse me?
Let's assume she's not a parishioner. Did she give you $90,000? Did she give you $90,000?
Anything as well. Her son was a parishioner. Her son was one of my members, and her son wanted.
Did he give you $90,000?
Brother, you gonna keep cutting me off, or you gonna let me finish?
I only got 2 minutes left. I just want to understand. Did you get $90,000 from somebody in that network? Finish your thought. Finish your thought. I want you to finish your thought. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm finished. Go ahead. You go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Okay, because we're running out of time for the show. But again, I'm not saying that you're not telling the truth. Of course.
So we'll come back then. So we'll come back, because I'm not going to be bullied in any type of answering no questions. All right. The media
That's fair.
already made me into the media has already made me into a villain, okay? And I'm not going to be forced to say something that's going to be against the truth, okay? Just because of emotions.
I respect that.
I am a young pastor that I'm trying my best to live a life, a Christian life. And I understand I don't look like a regular bishop, but guess what? I am a bishop, I am a chief apostle, and I am a black man that love my skin. I love my culture. And no matter who wants to talk about me and no matter who wants to demonize me, God made me beautiful. So I'm here to say to every black man, live in your beauty.
Amen.
Every black woman, live in your beauty. And I'm going to say this to you, that the Bible says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And that's what I'm standing in. The Bible never said that a weapon won't prosper, but I'm going to stand 10 toes down, and I'm going to stand with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and that's it. So if you want to interview me again, you want to ask some more questions, but I just want y'all to really do the research about Bishop Whitehead. Look about the great things that I've done. Look at the things that I do for my family. I have 4 children that I take care of. I do great work in the community. You ask a lot of these rappers that I've gotten out of prison, a lot of these gang members that I have, they have rehabilitated their life. Nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody want to sit here and demonize the bishop. So I want y'all to really do your research.
And that's often what happens. And you're right. You're right, my brother. I gotta run, but I wanted to give you a chance to have the final word as you did. I wish you the best of luck. I hope no weapon formed against you prospers, and I hope everybody gets what they deserve, which is always justice. It's such a pleasure to see you, my brother. All right, family, we have reached the end of the show, but before I let y'all go, I just want to summarize what happened tonight in my interview with Bishop Whitehead. I asked him how he could have a multi-millionaire lifestyle with 40 people in his church, and he said it's from real estate. When I asked him what kind of real estate, he said he couldn't tell me, or he couldn't tell me the name of the company that he owns, which is supposed to be public. I asked him about fabricated bank record allegations. He said the allegation on the indictment isn't accurate. I said, what's the accurate one? He said he can't tell me. I asked him about a parishioner he was alleged to have stolen $90,000 from, and he didn't say he didn't steal the $90,000. He said that's not really a parishioner. I asked him about the wire charges. He didn't respond. I asked him about his 5-year prison sentence for theft. He said that he was railroaded. I asked him about the other allegations of theft and extortion. He said that he was being framed. So he has had an answer to all the questions. The problem is, for some people out there watching, the answers just might not add up. But that's for y'all to decide.